Welcome to the Culture Curators podcast. We're here to share insight, information, and resources to help you become a more effective salon business owner. Hi, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about benefit packages, compensation packages, and commission. Oftentimes, I think that we as business owners and the people that we're interviewing to come on board really just think about compensation as what is my commission? That's the only thing that they're questioning, that they're worried about, and that they think about is what's my commission? But I think that there's actually more to a complete compensation and benefit package that you might be missing out on when you're doing your recruitment efforts. And so I really want to talk about, what is it that you can add to your repertoire when you're talking with people, when you're interviewing people, when it comes time to discuss the complete benefit package.
Yeah, I think itemizing, what the benefits are in the culture, whether you're offering one-on-one team meetings, that should definitely be listed there. If you are offering consistent training, what I don't recommend is putting that you offer consistent training in there and then not have consistent training, because that happens a lot in our industry, unfortunately, where stylists will come and say, the last owner, they told me that they taught all the time, or that we were going to learn, or that we had classes all the time, but then there just was no follow through, or they were too busy for it. So clearly that means that the owner didn't have it set as an actual recurring schedule. So make sure that whatever you're going to list in your benefits actually happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really important because you really want to, under promise and over deliver. You don't want to do the other. It's really important because you don't want to set people up for, less than. And so when you think about your complete benefit package, of course there's commission on services. Of course there might be commission on retail. It could be in the form of money for that retail. It could be in the form of an education fund. Depending upon how people have it set up. Everybody has the right to set it up however they want to. But those are two, and that's obviously what most people focus on. But most states now have paid time off that they have to add to it. And so whatever that paid time off is what it is. If you stick with what the state regulations are, then that's what it is. I know some of our clients have added to the state regulation, and that's a really great benefit. So that would set that particular business up differently than the rest in her area, because not only does she meet that requirement, but she exceeds it by X amount of hours. And so it's just a point of difference for her. Sometimes people will bring in AFLAC. I'm just using that as an example, where you don't have to pay anything towards their AFLAC program. If they choose to get on it, they choose it 100%, or they pay for it 100% of the time. But again, it's a benefit. Same thing with perhaps a dental program. I offered dental and I didn't contribute to it. I just offered it as a group. And so they got a group discounted rate. And some people chose to have it, some people didn't. If you choose to offer medical insurance, if you choose like a simple IRA, you can add that. Like Derek said, training programs definitely are part of the benefit package, because there are salons out there, believe it or not, that don't do a lot of training. And so if you do training, that is a benefit. And you should be listing that as a benefit. If you're, say, a top 200 salon, that might be an accolade, that might be a benefit. Maybe somebody is looking to work in a salon that's top 200. I don't know. But that can be a benefit. And so the point in discussing all of this is to say to you that you do have a great benefit package. You just need to think about it. And oftentimes we find that businesses don't think about it and don't consider it a benefit when in fact it actually is a benefit.
Yeah, I think you also have to mention if there's any kind of bonus structure. Do you bonus people out at the end of the year based on services? Do you bonus people out based on their retail sales? Is there retail commission? How do you organize that? And all of that should be listed and itemized. So if you think about just even the things we talked about, you have a one sheet right there that you can like say, here's our our compensation and benefit package. So yes, is commission a part of that? Absolutely. Is that what they're going to be focused on to a degree? Yes, but then they can also see that there's a lot more that you offer than typical. I think another thing too, this might not be listed on paper there, but it seems like a lot of times stylists and assistants don't necessarily consider tips as a part of their wages. I
Mm.
don't necessarily know why that is the case because it's actual money. So clearly it's wages, but it's interesting how a lot don't factor that in. So I always encourage young stylists that I tell them that, or even a young assistant, if they're on an hourly base, this is your hourly starting wage. And then what I always encourage you to do is, especially at the end of a week, but you can do this daily if you'd like, take what your tips were and divide that by the amount of hours that you worked that day. That's your real time average once you add that with what your base is, and they can really understand, like, wait a minute, if I'm getting 15 an hour and that's all they're hearing, 15 an hour, but they're making 22 an hour based on their tips, their real time take home is 22 an hour. So I think that's important to tell them so that they understand it and that there's not a misconception or lack of clarity around that.
Yeah, that's really, really important. I'm glad that you said that because I believe that oftentimes business owners forget about that when they're going through the interview process, when they're giving people what is the value of coming to work here. And although it has nothing to do with us as business owners, it is part of their compensation. So it is the compensation of whether it's hourly or commission plus your tips. And I promise you, there's a lot of salon owners out there that aren't identifying that when they're dealing with interviews and trying to encourage people to come on board if they're a good match for them or the owners think that they're a good match. And so I kind of like to think outside the box. It's like, what can you do that is beneficial to the potential service provider? So I think of one-on-ones. One-on-ones may not seem like a benefit, but they actually are because you're taking your knowledge, your guidance, your time, and you're giving it to that employee to help them reach and strive for their goals to become better and to reach financial means that they set as goals. I think having a team meeting, just the open communication, I think that that's so important. And I think it actually is part of a benefit to be able to say, and we know because we have worked with a lot of different clients throughout North America and even outside of North America. And the majority of people, when they start working with us, don't have consistent one on ones, don't have consistent team meetings. When they start to have those things, they see their performance in their individual service providers increase. So that's a benefit. Whether you think it is or not, it is a benefit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What else do you have?
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah,
I can't
I think
believe
that
it.
wraps it up.
I have never known you to not have something
True.
to say.
But this is
So
this is a
it's
quick
a
topic. It's an
short
important one,
topic.
but I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, I was going to say you had mentioned simple IRA. You can also opt for 401k. Some do,
Absolutely.
so you have to decide what works the best for you. And if you're unfamiliar, in the example of a simple IRA, you're deciding that you're going to match up to 3%. So every payroll cycle, if they decide they're putting 3%, then you're matching 3%. If they go above 3%, you're capped at 3%. So I tell them that's free money for you that you can partake in.
Right.
You can also decide in those scenarios if there's a qualification period. So maybe they need to
Yeah.
be 1 year tenured in order to receive that benefit package. So that incentivizes them to stay on board a little
Right,
longer too.
exactly. And in particular with a simple IRA, you have three options the first 3 year. You can do 1, 2, or 3%. After the third year, you're always at 3%. And here's what I found. I'd be interested to find out what you think too. What I found was, maybe I'm not going to tell you the specific percentage because I'm not sure that I remember it, but I'm going to say it was around 25% of my employees did simple IRA accounts when they had the opportunity. I know for dental, two of my employees chose to do that. For medical, maybe five at most chose to do it. So when you're looking at a benefits package, you have to be aware of what that would cost you potentially if 100% of your employees did it after whatever that vetting process was. And then know that that's your out of pocket the largest cost that you could have, and then just know that the percentages, I've never met a salon who's had 100%. Doesn't mean that you're not out there. You certainly could be out there, but I think the norm is 50% or less. And I don't know if that's what you found with your
It
own
was somewhere around there. I
business.
mean, I think it might have been a little bit higher, but some, could were eligible and they didn't sign on for a year or two just because
Right,
of procrastination. We reached out to them one, two, three times, and we're going to reach out, at least three times about it over the span of a few months. But we never want to feel like we're badgering a
right.
stylist if they don't want to take the free money. then
Then
they don't
don't.
have to. I've tried to educate them on the importance of participating in it and how little they'll feel when they're taking 3% of their income and how important that could be over the span of time.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you take the horse to the water, they decide if they're going to drink or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we would love to hear from you. What do you consider your benefit packages, inclusions, and put it in the comments. We'd love to see it. I'm sure that we were missing some things, but it's just a brief overview. It's just a topic that we just want you to consider what your benefit package is. And the next time you go out and interview, to be all inclusive and not just focus on the commission of retail and services, but to be inclusive of all the benefits that someone would get from aligning themselves with you. So good luck with your recruitment, with your hiring and interviewing processes.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Culture Curators Podcast. Please like, comment, follow, and subscribe.